hear my voice already. But no, but there's a wee verse that's been going through my head all week, and it's just Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, and that's the truth. You know, I can't do this in my own strength. I can't be standing up here. I'm no public speaker. I've never spoken in public before, and it's only through Christ that I can do this here. And I just want to thank Davey for giving me the opportunity today to share my testimony. It means a lot to me. I've wrote my notes down just in case I get muddled up. But anyway, I don't know where you start with these here things. You know, I'll just start with an introduction of myself. I'm Gareth Courtney. I'm 29 years old. I was born and raised in the Woodville. I was born into a family of 5. There was my mum and dad and my sister Leon and my brother Craig. My sister Leon's 10 years older on me and Craig's 14 years older on me. So I was the baby of the family, and they would both say that I was very spoiled as a child, you know, but I would say they just loved me more, you know. But no, I had a really great childhood. I grew up in the Woodville. I was born into a family I love, you know, and we had quite a big family. My mum came from a family of 5. And my dad came from a family of 7, so I had lots of aunts and uncles and cousins and all that there, and that was always what I held dear to me, was growing up, looking back in memories of my family and having fun times and stuff, you know. And as I say, I was born in the Woodville, and it was a real tight-knit community. All my friends came from within about 5 streets of each other, a couple of them sitting here tonight, you know. And if you had told me this time last year that I'd be a Christian, never mind be standing to give my testimony and say your head's late, that's not really happening, you know. But it's amazing to even look around and see so many of my friends who are supporting me. But yes, we grew up, and I just loved everything sort of anybody else did, you know. We loved going out and playing football and messing about, and probably rapping the doors and running away and all this here sort of stuff, but getting ourselves into a bit of mischief. But you know, there was never no badness in there or anything out there. It was just probably boredom, and Jordan McKee would probably be the worst for it. The notorious Jordan who lives in the Woodville. But no, I went to Glenwood Primary School, and then I moved on to the boys' model. And I was always an outgoing type of guy. I found it easy to make friends. I loved having a laugh and a bit of crack, and it was something that I found well about myself, that I could always go into new places and make friends and stuff. But as I grew up, yes, I went to a boys' model. And then I done well in my GCSEs and my A levels and all that there, and it was great, you know. And yes, as I look back, and I was writing this here out for the last couple of weeks, you know, I sort of way I always have fond memories, just really, really great memories. I can't think of any in my childhood, you know, that would go, I know I was bad, but there was one thing in my life that really sticks out to me is I had an illness when I was 11 years of age. I took one morning I was getting ready for secondary school, starting first year. I woke up and I collapsed in the bathroom, and my mum and dad were running in, ambulance and all call. We flew over to the Royal, and they were doing all these tests on me. They didn't know what was wrong with me, but so they sent me home anyway and said, you know, just keep an eye on him. And about a week later, I was coming out of school, and it turned like a yellow colour. The whites of my eyes had went yellow, and I got into the car and my mum said, you know, is there something wrong with my eyes? And they were pure yellow, and she took me over to the Royal, and they done all tests on me. They found out that my liver was inflamed. I had my body was attacking my liver somehow, and they didn't know what was wrong with me. And this year went on for a wee while. It went on for a few months, and it was probably a real worrying time for my parents. It was my liver was failing essentially, and they just didn't know how to grasp it or what was wrong, and they were doing liver tests and all this here, and you know, I was really not well. But the more I missed a lot of first year, but the more I thought about it, was just I just missed going to school. I thought I was missing out on times with my friends, but it was a bit more serious than that for my parents, you know. But they got a grip of it, and they found out it was a disease called autoimmune hepatitis. It was a rare disease. It was only about 400 people in the UK had it. And I always remember a statistic coming out, you know, at that time it was my liver was at enzymes were 800, and George Best died with his at just over 1,000. But I always found a peace. I remember that there time. That's probably the first time that I ever encountered God in my life, and I felt God's presence in my life. I remember a pastor, he came up and he prayed over me, and we said a prayer, and I remember so vividly, you know, even when I got saved and started thinking back the times God was in my life and He pulled me out of different scenarios. I remember that time so vividly praying over me, and I felt the peace of God upon me. I felt the peace that everything was going to be alright, even though my mum and dad were probably running about pulling their hair out, but I knew that everything was going to be alright. I knew I had a peace. And anyway, they got the handle on it, they found out autoimmune hepatitis, they treated it, and for a couple of years I was going to hospital appointments and that there, but then they all started to dwindle. I started moving on with my life, and my illness was probably the furthest thing from me. As I say, I'd done a love school, and I think that reflected in my sort of exam results. I'd done alright. I passed all my GCSEs, bar one, which was RE. And I found out Ma's standing up here now with a Bible in front of me, quoting that there as a Christian, but it just shows you how far away I was from God at that there time, you know. And then, yes, as I moved on, done my A-level, stayed on in school. I went to, and then I got an apprenticeship in Bombardier. It was at the time. It was, it's nice for Aero Systems, where I'm still on to this day. And at that there time in your life, you know, you stop sort of way. I found, you know, coming up with your teenage years, my friends started to drink and going out and all, and I wanted a part of that. And for the first couple of years, I didn't really drink because of my liver disease. The doctors always told me, you know, the sort of way, not be drinking, but sure, I didn't want to listen to them, and so I wasn't going to let any doctors hold me back. So we started coming from the youth clubs, and then trying to sneak into bars, and then we got into bars, and that there was sort of way where it all started, you know. And as it came up through the late teens and the early 20s, that was our party time, you know. We went on lads' holidays, we're booking Magaluf and bus runs to Callie's, and it's actually quite funny looking down a few faces now, you know, that we've all done it with, but my goodness, unbelievable. But then first couple of years, it was great, you know. I'm not going to stand it, when it's all new and it's fun and it's something different, and you enjoyed it, you know. We were running about and we thought this was all brilliant, and we were waking up the next day or talking about what we got up to the night before. But you know, I see from a young age, I always seen that drink changed me. Drink changed me as a person. Sort of way, I found it was dead easy to get drunk, and I've sort of way lost control in a lot of things when I did drink. But at that third time, I was floating through life, and that was what we were living for, our holidays and all the rest of it. But then I found out I was going to be a daddy at 20 years of age, and I was absolutely frightened. It was the scariest time ever. You know, I had all my life planned out that I was going to get my apprenticeship, and I was going to go abroad and work, and I was going to go contract and do all these years things, and the next minute I found out I was going to be a daddy, and you know, it sort of way hit me like a ton of bricks. It was a scary time, you know, and I was going, oh my goodness, my life's over. You know, I was going, oh no, this is madness. But you know, that was God's biggest blessing in disguise from my wee daughter. You know, she's the best thing that's ever happened to me. God speaks to me through her so much. She really is a blessing in disguise. I know everybody says that about their kids, but I really do think she's the best in the world, you know. And but at that there time in my life, and it was great, I switched over to sort of like being a daddy, and that was where my focus was. But you know, I sort of like lost myself in that. I lost myself. I was leading the very unhealthy lifestyle, probably both mentally and physically. I wasn't looking after myself. I was probably just, you know, getting in a rut, and it was just a routine of going out drinking at the weekends, and then out there we would have recovered, and then went out the next weekend, and that's just the way it was, sort of way life went about at that there time, you know. And I sort of way lost the purpose. I lacked the purpose. I was just floating through from week to week, and I was seeking something. I was seeking anything I could, you know. But then fast forward a few years, I met my now wife Hannah, and you know, my life sort of way started looking up again. I started feeling like I had a purpose, and we were going and buying our first house, and we were going on our holidays and really enjoying life. But you know, see, once you always achieve my goals and achieve stuff, I always still felt a wee bit empty. I felt like there was like an emptiness inside me. I didn't know what I wanted. Hannah would be the first to confess that. You know, I was running about, I was coming in 1 week with a golf bag and all, and going out golfing, and then that golf bag got turfed, and then I was going to MMA back then. I was going to training there, and then I was buying a burger farm as well, and then a coffee truck, and you know, where I was going. I had all these here big things that I was going to do, and everything was on and out their way. But then I got into running and training, and that sort of way shifted my focus a wee bit. And I got into a lot of mindset stuff, you know. I was listening to books. I was listening to David Goggins, and any of us don't know David Goggins. He's like a real he's a real like ultramarathon type runner and like real mindset guy from America, and I probably thought I was the Woodville David Goggins for a week. But no, I was listening to all this here, and I thought I started really developing this here self-control. I really thought I was looking into mindset books, and I would remember waking up in the mornings and I was thanking the universe, and you know, I was doing all these here sort of stuff. But I was writing gratitude lists, and last time I done a testimony, I was talking about that there, and it sort of way came upon me. You know, a girl came up to me out there and said, you know what, there's what I done, but I thought it was a good way of finding God. But it was, you know, that I was leaving God out of that equation. I was just thanking the universe and writing gratitude and leaving God out. But as I say, the weekend habits just sort of way continued. Just at that time, I was still carrying on. I thought I had all this self-control during the week, and then when I got to the weekend, when I got the drink in me and lost that again, you know. And then around that there time, I got engaged on the 19th of February 2022. I'll never forget that one. And on the 20th of February, I was on the highest high one day, and on the 20th of February, the very next day, my best friend, it was like a brother to us all, Jordan McKee, he took leukemia on that there date, and it was like I was up here, and then that just absolutely rocked my world. It wrapped me, you know. I was just Jordan was somebody who I confided so much in. I knew everything about him, and he knew everything about me, and I would have rang him most days, and you know, it was just really rocked my world. The thought of losing a friend like that, there, more like a brother, was more than I could bear, you know. And I remember sitting at that time, and I was all into all the universe stuff, and I was going to send Jordan, believe you'll be better and you'll achieve it and all, and I probably didn't know what it was at, but I was as far away from God as anything at that time. Jordan, I probably blamed God more for Jordan's illness rather than say, you know, was there a purpose? And I was like, you know, look at the word, Lord, look at the many stuff that's going on, and yet you give Jordan this here illness. But little did I know that Jordan would go and get saved, and he got saved a couple of months after that. And I started sort of going to church with Jordan. I remember sitting just there and coming down a few times, and I come down here of a hangover probably a couple of times, you know, but just I was there for support. I was like, oh, very good, Jordan, you know, but I'll go with you, like, and support you, but, you know, it's not really for me, you know, and look at me now, well, God's humour's God, isn't it? And, but at that there time, my shift changed in work, and I feel like, you know, see, sometimes when I was going to church at that time, I felt like God was knocking on my door. You know, he was knocking to say, you know, when Davey was preaching and I was hearing it and I was listening to stuff, and I was going out there like, Davey, somebody's wearing Davey off about my life here, you know what I mean? And somebody's telling him about me. I think Jordan's whispering his ear what I've been up to that week, but it was just from God's word, and it was convicting me. But as I said, the door was open and I just walked on, I just slammed it shut again. I just carried on with my life. But at that time too, you know, it was crazy how God was working. I was on a shift in work, and my shifts all changed. I got a promotion in work, and I changed on to a different shift, and I went from working with no Christians to working with about 4 or 5, and it was mental. And Jordan used to talk to me on the phone about God, and then I would have had conversations in work about God and about different things, and then but at that time I was probably walking about work, and I remember driving into work and going, I'm going to go around and catch them Christians out today. It's a hard question, and I'll catch them out today, you know, they'll not be able to hit me with an answer with this one, but they always did. There was always an answer, and I always came away thinking, there's maybe something in this here, or maybe something in this, you know. But then, as New Year's Eve came along, I finished work for Christmas, and in end of 2023 into 2024. Just last year, and you know what, I went out on New Year's Eve, and I went out to celebrate, but again, I drank too much, got on like a header again, made a fool out of myself, fighting with Hannah, fighting with my friends, just not being a good partner or a good friend to anybody. And you know, I went and I woke up that next day with pure regret, and you know, it's probably one of the biggest lows I've ever had in my life. It just wrecked me. I just went, is this it, Gareth? Is this everything You know, is this your life forever? Is it you just want to keep on going out and causing carnage and not being a good person and living like this here? And I remember looking over at my daughter, and she was on the iPod on New Year's Day, and it was meant to be a new start to a new year, and yet I'd started it with absolute carnage. And I felt really low myself. It just, you know, at that time I was sort of, I thought that, you know, everybody would be better if I just wasn't about, you know, and it wasn't in anybody's lays, because I just cause carnage anytime I get that drink in me, you know. And I really had to examine myself. I really examined myself the next couple of days and look at myself, and you know, I made a deal with myself. I made a deal that, you know, anything that makes me feel good this year I'm leaning into, and see anything that makes me feel bad I'm steering away from. And I knew the things that made me feel good at that time. It was running, looking after myself, eating the right things, doing the right stuff, and the things that made me feel bad was the drink and just not looking after myself. And I said, right, that's it. I'm going to dive deep into training. I'm going to look after myself and steer away from the bad stuff. But God had a different plan. God, I hadn't went to church in about a year and a half, and then Hannah turned around to me, and we had made up and made friends, and you know, I was sending out all the sorry text messages of the day, and you know, it just wasn't in a good spot, and we had made friends, and the next couple of days was alright, but I still felt that shame and that guilt within me, you know, and then Hannah turned around to me and said, Gareth, you know, we've started the new year wrong. Why don't we go to church for the first Sunday? We'll try and start it right, you know. And I said, maybe throw in here too, you know, my granddad in Lap, he got saved when he was 88 years old after my granny died, and so he was going to the Welcome Church up in the Woodville. And that was our wee way in, you know, so there was a purpose for everybody. That was our way in. We went to church on that Sunday morning, and I don't even remember what the sermon was about or what was spoke about, but my goodness, I felt amazing. I came out buzzing, absolutely buzzing, and then I look back and I know that was the Holy Spirit upon me. The Holy Spirit touched me that day. And I just came out and I said, Hannah, I felt amazing. Why don't we make a routine of that there? We'll just go every Sunday, you know, that's an hour a week, we'll just do it. And so we just started going an hour a week. And at that third time, I had no interest that I was going to get saved or even become a Christian, but you know, I had all these here doubts in my head that what way I would do, you know. But my faith started to grow as I started going. My faith started growing, and I was having deeper conversations in work. I was having deeper conversations with Jordan. I was listening to sermons on my earphones. I was listening to worship music. And one day my friends out of work came in with a Bible and handed me a Bible, and this blew my mind, you know. It was like, oh my goodness, like people are actually outside thinking of me and they give me a Bible. And it was class, you know. But I was running about and I was asking all these questions and seeking all these answers, and I was trying to understand everything in my own strength. I was trying to understand what it was all about, and you know, and trying to make sense of the whole Bible and make sense of everything. And then I was up in Ballymena. I visited my friend Tommy's church up in Ballymena Baptist, and I was walking out, and the pastor stopped me, and we were just out of the blue and talking to me, and you know, he asked me was I a Christian yet, and I said no. And he said, well, I'll leave this verse with you, and it was Proverbs 3:5, and it always sticks to me. It's lean not on your own understanding, in all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your path straight. And that was sort of the way it hit home with me, because I was trying to understand everything. I was trying to work everything out for myself, but I needed to not lean on my own understanding, I needed to put it on the Lord. And but at that there same time, Jordan was away. He was away getting treatment. He was over in London. He got his bone marrow transplant. He was free of the cancer. And he was back home, but he was still going downhill. They couldn't get a handle on why he was losing so much weight. And every time I spoke to Jordan, it felt like it was getting worse. I felt like he was on his deathbed. I felt like it was just, I didn't know what way I was going for him. And he was down to about 6 stone in weight, and I remember he just said, I just keep losing weight. I don't know what's wrong. My bloods are rock bottom. I don't know what's wrong. And I remember that there same time, you know, I was in work and I was talking to one of my friends again about faith and about what was holding me back, and I said, no, I have this faith. I really do believe in God, but you know, I couldn't become a Christian yet because, you know, I've got my stag this year, and all my mates, you know, I'm a header, like I love a not drinking, you know, and this is only for a wee period in my life. I'll be back on the drink after this here, and you know, and I just had what is everybody going to say about me? You know, everybody's going to think, you know, oh, Coco's ahead, everybody's running about that church then, he's saved, and you know, I just had all these thoughts going through my head, and that probably everybody thinks, you know, people would have a faith, but I was letting it overcome me, and he said, you know, it's come as you are. You come as you are. The faith, you know, you ask the Lord into your heart tonight, and He'll come in and He'll save you. And He just put it straight to me that night. And you always thank Him for it, you know. And I walked away, and I walked up the passageway during the night shift and work, and you know, I just asked the Lord into my heart, and I asked Him to forgive me of my sins and to save me, you know. And I probably didn't know what I was saying, to be honest. I was saying the right thing, but it was crazy because on that there Sunday, after that I went to church and I went to a testimony on the Sunday night, and as I was walking out, just as I usually do, make me feel good, all the stuff, and I was walking out and the pastor said to me, "There's an axe in your back." And I was going, "My goodness, told him." Somebody's told him about what I said during the week. And then I blurted it all out. I just said, "No, I said the prayer during the week, but I don't know if I'm saved." And then I said, "Relax." And then I went into the room that night. Now that was the 7th of April, 2024, and I gave my life to the Lord.
Amen.
But I felt amazing. I felt amazing that night. But I walked out of the room, and my mum and Hannah were standing crying. I said, "What is crying for?" "Don't be crying." I don't know if I'm going to stick this here. I'm like, I'm a header and all this. It's just absolutely bumping. I don't know if I'll be a Christian or not, you know. And then the next couple of days I woke up on the Monday and I texted a few Christian friends and told them about it, but my goodness, couldn't tell anybody else. But I woke up on the Monday, couldn't speak about it. I actually think, I don't know, I'm usually a good speaker, but I could not talk to anybody. And the Tuesday was the same. And then I always believe this here, you know, at this here time I was running around asking all sorts of Christians to pray for Jordan. And I was going and I was praying for Jordan. It was in my prayers, and I know that lots of people were. And on that there Wednesday, Jordan rang me. And he said, "Coco, you never believe this. I put a stone of weight on, and my bloods have tripled up the way." And it was just like, that was like my answered prayer. It was like God saying to me, "Where's your answered prayer? What are you going to do now? Are you going to follow me? Are you not?" You know what I mean? I was like, "Oh, we are." And I remember sitting on the phone that day, and the floods of tears came down my face. And I was just like, oh my goodness, that was my answered prayer. It was my biggest blessing that I've ever asked for. You know, if God never gave me anything else in the world and He gave me that there, then that was enough. That would have been enough for me, you know. But God blessed me more. He blessed me more. On the week after, I got saved. My sister got saved. She got saved on the 14th of April and gave her life to the Lord. My mum got saved about 6 months later. And God's been working amazing things in my family. In my wider family, my cousin Wayne got saved. I married Hannah this year. I've grown as a man of God. And you know, it was like, I always think of it, you know, that I'm no perfect Christian. And like there's times this year where when I have got saved and, you know, that I haven't felt very much like a Christian, to be honest. I'm no perfect person. I've had God's redirected me. He spoke to me and moved me away from paths that I maybe was walking down. And it's like a growing process for me. It was never like a big overnight thing where I was just saved and I became some big holy Joe. But it's just like it's a process. It was just a process, and God was just speaking to me and changing me. He took away my cursing. He took away my anger. The peace He brought within my relationship in itself. You know, where the drink was and the weekends were probably destroying my weekend or my relationship, but the peace that He's brought into my home is next level, you know. And you know, a fella said to me one time, you know, it's like somebody always says, you know, I'll get fit, then I'll go to the gym, and it doesn't make sense. It's like, I'll clean my life up, then I'll come to God. It's like, no, come to God and let Him clean your life up. And I've really felt that in my heart. I've felt Him clean my life from the inside out. And He's just given me a peace and a joy that I really can't explain, you know. Even like I have trials, I have worries, I live my life like everybody else, and we all have our trials in life, but I've got a peace within it. There's stuff that's came this year and where I would have probably reacted like a madman, but it's just like, no, everything's going to be alright. There's a peace in this. And I was sitting the other week and the storm was here before, you know, the other week it was the red weather storm. I forget the name of it. But we got the morning off work and I was sitting in the house and I just lifted my Bible and I was sitting reading my Bible and the wind was beating off the window and the trees were flying everywhere and I was reading my Bible and it just came to me, you know, there's a storm going on around me in my life or anything, and the storm was going on around me that day, but this is where I find my peace now, is in the God's Word, and that really spoke to me that day, you know, and the scales had just been wiped off my eyes. And I just want to leave you, I've probably spoke for ages there, but I just want to leave you with a wee verse. And it's John 4:13. Jesus said, "Whoever drinks of this water will be thirsty again, but whoever drinks of the water I give will never be thirsty again. Whoever is seeking pleasure and fulfillment from things on this world will always want more," just like me. I always wanted more. I just was seeking pleasure in this world. I seeked everything. I had everything. I was chasing the goals of drink. I was chasing drinking. I was chasing partying. I was chasing training. I was chasing doing everything else. But once I got my goals, I always still felt the emptiness. But when we seek Jesus and His teachings, we will never thirst of chasing fulfillment again, because He will always have it. If Jesus can do it for me, He can do it for you too. And I really thank you all for listening today. So,